Hello, and thanks for tuning in to listen to this week's Unchained Weekly Newscap. I'm Michael Del Castillo, a Knight Bagehot Fellow at Columbia University. In a recent development in the FTX case, the exchange's former co-CEO Ryan Salame has pleaded guilty to federal charges, including conspiracy to make unlawful political contributions and defraud the Federal Election Commission, as well as operating an unlicensed money transmitting business. This comes confirmed to us by U.S. Attorney Damian Williams. The plea, recorded in the Southern District of New York, comes with an obligation for Salame to forfeit a whopping $1.5 billion, with a hearing scheduled for next March 6. Salame, who managed political donations at FTX, is the latest former executive at the exchange to admit to criminal conduct, joining Nishad Singh, Caroline Ellison, and Gary Wang, who are all expected to testify. These are developments part of a larger case involving FTX's founder Sam Bankman-Fried, who is facing multiple charges but has pleaded not guilty. As the legal pressures mount on Sam Bankman-Fried, the spotlight this week is on his lawyers' increasingly fervent requests for him to be temporarily released from jail, as they argue, to be able to adequately prepare for his imminent October trial. Despite their client having already been granted access to an air-gapped laptop for extended hours at the Metropolitan Detention Center, Bankman-Fried's defense team contends that the current setup falls short of allowing a meaningful opportunity to build a robust defense, citing unreliable internet and insufficient battery life on the laptop provided. Simultaneously, the courtroom is buzzing with debates over the admissibility of evidence concerning FTX's bankruptcy and a controversial ad featuring Seinfeld creator and perennial Luddite Larry David. The prosecution insists that the evidence is vital to portraying the complete narrative of Bankman-Fried's alleged crimes, including the alleged misappropriation of customer funds. In a related development, the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York sanctioned a rare repurchase agreement on October 28, allowing regulated securities trading app Robinhood to buy back some of its own stock worth an estimated $605 million from Bankman-Fried. That's according to an SEC filing from last month, reported by CoinDesk late last week. As FTX's bankruptcy hearing nears, recent Solana wallet activities have ignited fears of a potential token dump, with around $10 million in tokens associated with an FTX wallet already moved through the wormhole bridge. Meanwhile, filings show what many might consider extravagant corporate expenditures, including a $2.5 million yacht for former co-CEO Samuel Trabucco, among other internal cash transfers to executives. The U.S. Department of Justice has intensified its case against former Celsius CEO Alex Mashinsky, with a federal judge approving a restraining order that freezes his bank accounts and real estate assets, including a residential home in Texas. This move comes as part of an ongoing criminal case where Mashinsky is facing charges of alleged fraud and market manipulation, to which he has pleaded not guilty. U.S. Attorney Damian Williams emphasized the necessity of the asset freeze to prevent what he's concerned might be interference from third parties before the relevant institutions can be notified. The order includes accounts at several financial institutions, including Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, and SoFi Bank, mandating the immediate cessation of all transfers from the affected accounts. Also this week, lawyers representing the Celsius cryptocurrency exchange filed a complaint against private lending platform Equities First, seeking to recover assets amounting to approximately $439 million in cash and Bitcoin. They claim they've been owed since July 2022. The filing, which also names Equities First CEO Alexander Christie as a defendant, stems from unreturned collateral from loans initiated in 2019. Bankrupt crypto lender Genesis is suing its parent company Digital Currency Group and its affiliate DCG International Investments, seeking repayment of loans amounting to $600 million. The lawsuit alleges that DCIG failed to fully repay a loan converted to a fixed term due in May 2023, with an outstanding balance of around $116 million. Additionally, Genesis claims DCG attempted to convert 4 loans worth about $500 million into open loans that don't typically have an end date, a move Genesis rejected. In a related note, Genesis Global Trading is set to voluntarily wind down its U.S.-based spot crypto trading operations later this month, citing, quote, business reasons, end quote, in a statement sent to Unchained. The New York subsidiary, holding a BIT license and registered with the SEC and FINRA, plans to halt its over-the-counter trading services by September 18, with all open accounts to be closed by the end of the month. This move follows the trend of other market makers like GSR, Wintermute, and Jump Crypto reducing their trading activities on U.S. platforms amidst increased regulatory scrutiny. Despite the closure, the company's international subsidiary, GGC International Limited, will continue its spot and derivatives trading services. In related news, federal officials, including FBI agents and SEC staff, met with Gemini co-founder Cameron Winklevoss to discuss his fraud allegations against digital currency group CEO Barry Silbert, according to a Bloomberg report. Despite Silbert's denials, an ongoing review into DCG and its subsidiary Genesis Global Capital's financials is being conducted. Silbert has not been charged with any wrongdoing, as per a DCG spokesperson. MakerDAO co-founder Runa Christensen has proposed the creation of a new standalone blockchain dubbed Unchained as part of the MakerDAO network, utilizing a fork of the Solana blockchain as its foundation. Christensen highlighted Solana's technical quality, resilience demonstrated during the FTX collapse, and the functionality of its existing forks as the primary reasons for considering it as the, quote, most promising codebase for Unchained. Despite the seemingly substantial task of building and maintaining a new chain, Christensen believes the limited work of copying an existing open source project is worth the added speed. The proposal has received mixed reactions from the crypto community, with some questioning the move away from an Ethereum virtual machine-based rollup, while others, unsurprisingly including Solana founder Anatoly Yakovenko, welcoming the initiative. The latest in part of a fervent push to establish a spot Bitcoin ETF, cryptocurrency asset manager Grayscale is urging the SEC to reconsider its stance on the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, currently valued at about $13.5 billion. Following a recent court victory where a judge overturned the SEC's rejection of Grayscale's Bitcoin ETF application, the firm appears keen to discuss the potential conversion of GBTC into a spot Bitcoin ETF, asserting there's no valid reason to differentiate GBTC from other products investing in Bitcoin futures contracts. The development comes as the SEC postponed decisions on 6 other spot Bitcoin ETF applications, setting a new deadline for October. Even as this happened, though, the SEC found itself embroiled in another legal tussle, this time with Ripple Labs, its CEO Brad Garlinghouse, and chairman and co-founder Chris Larsen. The commission is seeking approval to appeal a ruling that found Ripple's XRP sales did not breach securities law. Ripple contends that an appeal would, quote, neither expedite nor terminate, end quote, the case's resolution, and that the SEC lacks sufficient grounds to appeal a federal judge's ruling in favor of Ripple's XRP sales. Global asset manager ARK Invest and crypto exchange-traded product specialist 21 Shares have filed an application with the SEC to launch a spot Ether ETF named the ARK 21 Shares Ethereum ETF, aiming to offer investors direct exposure to Ether through Cboe's equities exchange. The move is part of ongoing industry efforts to secure the first spot crypto fund approval from the SEC. The proposed ETF promises a convenient and supposedly cost-effective way for institutions that are prevented from owning Ether to gain exposure through a security tied directly to the price. Also, ARK's former director of research, Brett Winton, who last year was given the ambiguous title Chief Futurist, criticized the U.S. government's approach to Bitcoin in a social media post, arguing that efforts to undermine the cryptocurrency could potentially harm the country's long-term strategic interests. Coinbase's Ethereum Layer 2 network Base experienced its first significant outage since its launch, halting block production for approximately 45 minutes on Tuesday. The disruption was attributed to a necessary update to the internal infrastructure, but raised concerns about the reliability of Layer 2 networks generally speaking. Pointing to what appears to be some hypocrisy in the way users and the media talk about certain aspects of crypto, the head of strategy at Solana Foundation, Austin Federa, said in a social media post, quote, "It's only an outage if it comes from the Solana region of San Diego County. Otherwise, it's just sparkling stall and block production," end quote. In other words, when Solana goes down, people freak out. When a Coinbase product does, it's just because it's an Ethereum Layer 2 solution. The Coinbase team has implemented a fix and is closely monitoring the network to prevent future issues, ensuring users that no funds were jeopardized during the outage. Of course, either way you look at it, the idea that any organization is responsible for either of these platforms makes it a little more difficult to talk about them being decentralized at all. On Tuesday, payment giant Visa added Solana to the blockchains that can be used to mint USD stablecoins, aiming to enhance the speed and efficiency of cross-border settlements, according to a statement. In spite of USDC losing market share to stablecoin Tether, Visa is positioning the development as a significant step in bridging traditional finance with Web3 via relationships Visa has with merchant payment processors WorldPay and Nuvei. Quote, "This opens the door to exploring future enhancements such as 24/7, 365 settlement availability and real-time or multiple daily settlements, all of which can help to accelerate cross-border commerce," said Nabil Manji, WorldPay's head of crypto and Web3 in a statement. Circle CEO Jeremy Allaire echoed this sentiment, highlighting the potential of USDC to, quote, "facilitate secure, reliable payments," end quote. In related news, Circle extended USDC deployment to Layer 2 networks OP mainnet and Base, potentially reducing fees compared to those on the Ethereum mainnet. In a significant security breach, the crypto betting platform Stake.com was targeted in a hack that saw over $40 million siphoned off from its ETH and Binance Smart Chain hot wallets. Within hours of the breach, the Cyprus-based gambling platform responded, attempting to reassure users their funds were safe and resuming services. Blockchain security firms and on-chain analysts estimated the total loss hovering at around $41.3 million. Notably, the FBI has already attributed the $41 million theft to the North Korean-linked Lazarus Group, noting their involvement in other significant international crypto heists. And that's all for this week. Thanks so much for joining us today. Unchained knows it's very hard to keep up with the latest news in the crypto ecosystem. That's why they have a daily and weekly newsletter to keep you covered. Sign up for free and receive the latest updates right in your inbox, Monday through Friday. Check out the show notes and subscribe below to see the Substack. Unchained is produced by Laura Shin with help from Kevin Fuchs, Matt Pilchard, Juan Aronovich, Megan Gavis, Jenny Hogan, Shawshank, and Margaret Correa. Thanks so much for listening.
Unchained is now a part of the CoinDesk Podcast Network. We've joined forces with CoinDesk's other great shows like Markets Daily, where you can hear about the latest in digital assets 7 days a week and much more. Subscribe and follow the CoinDesk Podcast Network today.